Hi, my name is Khadija McCoy, and today I'm going to be presenting a webinar about life after domestic violence. And the title of this is Love Should Not Hurt. Okay, so for our agenda today, we're going to do some introductions. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to talk about what is domestic violence, how to support a domestic violence victim, life after domestic violence, local resources, and then I'll leave time for questions at the end. So here are just some ground rules. So this is a safe space to share. This is a trigger warning. We will be talking about things related to domestic violence. So I just want that to be aware. If you need to leave for any reason, that is fine. Only share your story. So if you're going to share, just make sure that you are sharing things that you're able to, like your own personal story. And if you want to stay anonymous, you can always message the host privately, which is me. No shaming. This is a judgment-free zone, and keep an open mind. So, as I stated before, my name is Khadija McCoy. I'm a Master of Arts Public Relations graduate student. I am also the social media intern for Stand Up Survivor, which is located in Orlando, Florida, and I am also a survivor of domestic violence. And so this is a domestic violence PSA that I created for one of my classes, and I think it really kind of highlights what it feels like to be in that kind of situation.
Girl, why don't you just leave him?
I can't just leave. He has access to all of my money. Where am I supposed to go?
You need to get away before it gets any worse.
How can I leave if he's watching my every move? Before you leave an abusive situation, make sure you have a safety plan for yourself, your kids, and your pets. Okay, so I hope that that little PSA just kind of gives a little bit of a glimpse of what it feels like to be in a domestic violence situation. So, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence means any assault, battery, aggravated battery, sexual assault, sexual battery, stalking, aggravated stalking, kidnapping, false imprisonment, or any criminal offense resulting in physical injury or death of one family or household member by another family or household member. So domestic violence does not necessarily have to be in between two romantic partners. It can be something that happens within the household. So right now, I'm going to go through the cycle of this is the power and control wheel. So these are the different ways that domestic violence abusers, these are some of the tactics that they use to control their victim. So using intimidation, using emotional abuse, using isolation, minimizing, denying, and blaming, using children, using male privilege, using economic abuse, and using coercion and threats. So domestic violence does not always have to be something that is physical. A lot of times it does manifest in in emotional, sexually, financially. So there's different types of abuse. And here we go into the cycle of abuse. So it's not just something that like immediately happens. So you have stage one, which is tension. So there is some sort of tension going on. It's like you can kind of feel it. It's like those little comments that happen, just little arguments that pop up. And then you get into stage two, which is the incident itself. And so that could include a major argument. It could be a physical altercation, a sexual altercation, something of that sort. And then you go into the reconciliation phase. So this is where the abuser comes back and tries to reconcile their relationship to keep the person involved. And then you go into the honeymoon phase where you're being showered with gifts, praise, love, everything that you were denied and that tension. And then it just really builds, and that is the cycle of abuse. And that is why it's so difficult for a for a survivor to leave, because you go through this whole cycle and then they feel like, oh, well, things got better, and then things get worse, and oh no, things got better. So okay, so now we're going to go into supporting a domestic violence survivor. So things that you can say, so you can explain what the dating abuse is. You can tell a survivor, I love you and I want you to be happy. You can tell them you deserve a great relationship with someone who values you. You are a wonderful person with a lot to offer, and then explain what a healthy relationship is. Things to not say. So things that you don't want to say to a domestic violence victim, just because they may react negatively to that and try to hide the relationship even more. So I don't like the guy or girl you're seeing. You need to break up with them. Don't try to hide it. I know you've been dating someone. It seems like you aren't being yourself lately. I think your boyfriend or girlfriend is a bad influence. So just remember, the victim usually doesn't want to break up. They want the abuser to change and stop the abuse. And so sometimes abuse can arise when the victim tries to like leave the abuser, so, or breaking up with them. So breaking up can be dangerous. So just telling someone just to leave is not the best advice, because it could lead to an escalation of violence, or even lead to secrecy and keeping that relationship secret and isolating that victim even more. Okay, so what does life look like after surviving domestic abuse? Which is what this whole purpose is what happens after a victim leaves an abusive situation. So we have some impacts on survivors. So there's something called post-traumatic stress disorder, and that could lead to heightened anxiety, triggers, um, kind of flashbacks to the event, and there's no really set time limit on like how long this lasts, but you're coming out of very traumatic experience, and so some people go through this. Depression, it could be unexplained crying, it could be isolation, not wanting to do the same things that you used to do, changes in appetite, etc. Disassociation, is kind of feeling like out of body, like this is not your real life, feeling very disconnected from life, disconnected from what you're doing, and kind of feeling like you're going through the motions. And then you have physical evidence of domestic violence. This can be bruises, broken wrists, scars, burns, so anything like that that leaves like that's physical, that leaves that mark behind. Other impacts on survivors. So there's the common physical effects of trauma. It could be heavy breathing, just anxiety, just a lot of different things that affect your body physically, unable to eat, maybe changes in women's menstrual cycles. Self-medicate or self-injurious behaviors. So sometimes survivors will self-medicate through drugs or alcohol, or maybe even cause harm to themselves. Changes in one world view and outlook in life. As a survivor myself, it really changed the way that I looked at the world. I kind of looked through it for a while, just kind of bitter, because I didn't really quite understand how someone who claims to love you could hurt you. Change in a person's sense of safety and security. So it makes it very difficult for you to trust anyone, family, friends, significant others that you try to date in the future. It really changes that and makes you a lot more cautious. Conflicts with spirituality, especially when the abuser uses religion or other spiritual things to control the relationship. People can start feeling conflicts with their religion. Okay, and then here are some steps that you can use to rebuild your life. So this is not you have to complete one before another. These are just some steps that you can take, and that I've even taken to really rebuild my life and be on this really healthy path that I'm on right now. So discover the dynamics of domestic abuse. So this will require you to kind of research into domestic abuse, and that's what I did. Looked at all the different signs. What could I have missed? Because I don't want this to repeat. I don't want to be caught into the same situation. So understanding the abuse, understanding that not everything was my fault, that I was manipulated and coerced into a lot of different things. Discover yourself, your story, and your blind spots. So take some time to get to know yourself like all over again. Be comfortable in your story. That doesn't mean that you have to tell your story, but getting to a point where you're able to talk about things without crying, see where you may have missed some things, and just learn about yourself essentially. Discovering and limiting beliefs and mental blocks and work to resolving them. So just understanding what was holding you back, kind of breaking through and understanding yourself mentally. Reassess your values. A lot of times abuse changes you. So you have to kind of reassess for yourself like what's important, what's not important, and just really being aware of your own personal values. Understand your self-care needs and prioritize them. So a lot of times when you're in an abusive relationship, you're not really able to tend to your self-care needs because you're made to feel like that's not normal or that you have no right to care about yourself. So definitely take time to understand what you need self-care and then actually put that into practice and prioritize them. And then befriend your boundaries. A lot of domestic abuse is the abuser breaking down your boundaries. And now you have to build them back up and being firm in them. And building boundaries is not necessarily what you want to allow, but what you will do if someone crosses that boundary. Like, will you can cut off all communication when you talk to them, just really befriending those boundaries and setting those back up so that you have healthy boundaries in all of your relationships, not just romantic. Okay. Create a vision for your future. So I think that that's super important. You get so caught up in the now and trying to worry about surviving day to day. And so now you're finally in a space where you're able to create this vision for your future. Like, what do you really want out of life? Revisit your strengths, qualities, skills, and abilities. So I think that a lot of times you lose yourself. So we're going out there and discovering your strengths. Maybe some things have changed. Maybe some things are different. Sorry, some things have changed, some things are the same. So just go out there, really build on those skills that you have. Reach out and engage with healthy social networks. So just building up your social network again, because again, part of that was isolation. And so having, you know, your friends, your family, people you trust around you, like reach out, engage with them. Seek out new opportunities for growth and development. So this can be personal or professional. So really like going out there and just really discovering like where you want to grow. Healing is not a linear journey. It's full of ups and downs. So really go out there and seek that growth, even if it's just personal. Recognize that you do have a choice in your life. So many times I personally felt like I had no choice. Like this is my life now, I guess. And now that I know that I do have a choice in life, I have a choice of where I'm going in life, I have a choice of this and that. So that has really helped me. And then practice self-compassion. So just love yourself and be kind to yourself. It is not your fault that these things happen to you. Someone took advantage of your heart, and just practice that self-compassion and being kind to yourself. Okay. Look after yourself. So take time and space for yourself each day. Like take a moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes for yourself, just to focus on you and nothing else. Reward yourself. And that depends on the person you are. What motivates you? What would be a reward for you? Do something that you enjoy and that you're good at. Me, I enjoy makeup, so I like to do my makeup and just feel really good about myself. I discovered I like social media. I like creating posts. So just kind of putting my energy into things that I really love and I'm good at. Take regular exercise, like whether it's walking, swimming, hiking, like it doesn't have to be anything super major. It could just be, I'm going to walk around the block. That's your form of exercise. Learn a new skill. Um, Challenge yourself. Just go out there, learn something new. Try to, again, it's all about rediscovering yourself. And then be creative, whether it's drawing, writing, um, painting, crafting, whatever it is, just let those creative juices flow. And practice relaxation exercises. That could be yoga, um, stretching, Pilates, whatever, something that's gonna really like bring you down, meditate. And that's also important to eat well and get enough sleep if you can. I think that plays a lot. I know being in my abusive marriage, I didn't sleep a lot. I didn't sleep and didn't eat. There were times that I would go 3 or 4 days without eating just because I was so stressed. So I really have taken the time to really eat well, take care of myself. And I hope that you will do the same. And so I want to leave you with some resources. So we have the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And so this started, the number has changed and it's 988, and that was effective on July 16th, 2022, just for some reference. You can still call the other hotline, it'll just reroute you to this. But if you feel that you have thoughts of suicide or just call this number and they can connect you to an advocate, and they're open 24/7, 365. And of course, because I am an intern at Stand Up Survivor, I definitely want to talk about the resources that Stand Up Survivor has. So again, Stand Up Survivor is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Orlando, and it's dedicated to educating, equipping, and empowering domestic violence survivors and their communities globally. So these are some of the resources that we have here at Stand Up Survivor. So we have counseling, we have small group therapy, healing retreats. We can refer you to different services, legal services, or any other kind of services that you need. It can be an advocate for survivors by attending court with them. We have different programs, safety planning. We have freedom bags, which is a duffel bag with 2 weeks worth of essentials for someone who needs to leave immediately, doesn't have time to pack. We have a clothing closet, and we have a hope line that's from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So this is just another resource that's local to Orlando. I mean, obviously, there's other resources out there, and we work very closely with other organizations to make sure that we're providing the best services for survivors. Okay. These are all of the references of where I've gotten all of my sources. Again, I always like to be very fact oriented, but also showing and sharing my side of the story when it comes to being a survivor. And so if there are any questions, this would be the time for that. And if you need to contact me, again, my name is Khadijah McCoy. You can reach out to me at khadijahw@standupsurvivor.org. You can also follow Stand Up Survivor. We do have an Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter account. So you can follow us at Stand Up Survivor. And that would be the username for all of our social media platforms. Okay. Seeing as there are no questions, I'm just going to go ahead and end. I hope that you enjoyed this webinar, and I look forward to doing more of these in the future. Thank you.